Welcome back to the Oracle Sports Podcast. I'm Oracle Sports editor Nolan Brown.
And I'm Hannah. And this is Daisy, focused on her treat.
Definitely. We love dogs, and we'll get to some more dogs later on in this podcast. It's a dog-themed podcast. It's so great.
I love it. I've been looking for an excuse to bring her on here.
And we all love dogs, so definitely great experience. But we're back, though. We took a week hiatus, but we're back. And, yeah, we have a great pod this week. We have a guest, Heath Rinkus. You probably know him as a USF Superfan. Great guy. Great podcast later on in the interview. But first, I want to talk about why we kind of went on a hiatus. I had a little bit of a COVID scare. I'm not sure if I had it at all, but about maybe Monday, last week, I started feeling, kind of the heavy chest, things like that, a little bit of the cough, and I just felt drained through the next couple days, and I just felt terrible. I was sleeping I think one day I slept 15 hours. It was just crazy, but very serious thing. It wasn't fun at all. I couldn't even get a test either, just until yesterday morning, actually, at 7 a.m., which bright and early, but yeah, I got a test finally, so I'll get results back, but I'm feeling so much better now. I'm pretty much symptom-free. I feel so great, and Daisy just ran away, but
it's like, coronavirus, gotta go.
She's like, I'm done.
She's like, enough of this. But when you got tested, was there a huge line? Did you have to get there early because there's a lot of people?
Actually, I was really surprised. It wasn't as big as I was thinking originally, because it was technically scheduled at 8, the place didn't open up until 8, but I was like, I'm going to get there at 7:30 or 7:20 or whatever, just to be safe. There were probably 20 cars in front of me, and as soon as they opened up at 8, yeah, we flew through the line. It was they're just sticking people with the thing and moving them on, but very I was very impressed with how they had this set up. It was just very organized. Things, they knew what they were doing, full PPE and everything. Not a very comfortable experience getting a test. Did
you do the nose?
Yeah. Wow. Oh. I thought I was prepared for it, and she's like, the lady who did it said, okay, here's the thing, it's going to go about to here. It's going to hit the back of your nose, basically. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm prepared for that. Yeah, I was not prepared for that. That was not fun at all. Not a fun experience.
I also had a COVID scare. So my boyfriend's sister ended up testing positive, and I work with her at a restaurant, and she's a server. So you could understand the kind of scare that went on. So I just remember our restaurant that I worked at closed down. They had to professionally disinfect everything, and then my boyfriend and I got tested that next morning, and it was insane. And the reason I asked about the line was our testing site opened at 9:30. And because she got tested before, she told us get there at 7 in the morning. We got there at 7 in the morning, and we were car number 33. Can you hear them?
Yeah, just a little bit. It's fine. Background noise.
Sorry, guys. It's my sister's birthday. So, anyway, we were car number 33 at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they only have 150 tests to give out in a day. And there's at least 2 to 4 people in every single car. And they ran out of tests at 8:30. Mom, can you close my door? Thank you. We can put that out. Quarantine, guys. This is what's going on.
Oh, we're going to leave that in there. Candid stuff.
They ran out of tests. Okay, they ran out of tests at 8:30 in the morning. They started testing at 9:30. And we didn't get out until 10:45 in the morning. And it was insane. My hometown, there's a big spike right now because they decided to have high school graduations on the football field and try to do it socially distanced. But I guess since they all like to party after, it just started spreading. And luckily, though, I tested negative, and my whole family tested negative, and my boyfriend's whole family also tested negative. So the only person who is positive is the sister. And I won't be able to see him for 3 weeks, but that's okay. We have FaceTime. And, it's scary. Wear your mask.
Yeah, definitely. I hope she's okay. Did she have any symptoms or anything?
So she did not have a fever, which is weird, which is why she didn't think she had it. But she was super congested. She did have the dry cough And I think the biggest symptom was that she lost her sense of taste and smell. So when we were working and she was serving, like, our lemonade is super sugary and she could not taste it at all. And I think that was like a really dead giveaway.
Yeah, I never had a fever either, but I got hit with the heavy chest first. And I remember I took a shower and I got out of the shower and I felt it like a lot. And I was like, whoa, like I'm struggling to breathe. And that was just,
Yeah.
it was the worst on Monday. And that's when I was like, I told my mom, I was just like, you know, I'm not feeling too hot right now. So, um, but yeah, I got the cough too as well, and a little bit of the sense of smell. I remember I ate a lot of ramen and like a lot of soup because I was just like, I want to like clear everything out. I'm still a bit congested, but I couldn't smell anything either.
Apparently the coronavirus doesn't like heat, and for her, like, taking hot showers made it super uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah, so like I remember her saying that, like, kind of like what you said, when you got out of the shower is kind of like feeling weird and hard to breathe. Like, she said she felt like that when she would take hot showers. So, what
Interesting.
temperature do you shower at, Nolan?
I boiling hot. If my skin's not frying off, then it's not worth it.
Stay tuned for Nolan's test results.
Yeah, we'll find out in like 10 days or so. But luckily, I'm feeling better, and we hope your boyfriend's sister feels a lot better too.
Her
But
name is
yeah,
also Hannah, funny enough.
what's her name?
Hannah.
Hannah. Oh, how about that? Well, we hope Hannah feels better. We hope both Hannahs feel good. Um, but I want to talk a little bit about some news. There's not too much. We kind of want to make it short because we have a little bit of a long discussion with Heath later on, which is so much fun. Um, I want to talk about a tweet that was posted on actually this Tuesday by Spectrum Sports reporter Chris Torello. He said, been told USF has advised its high-level donors and season ticket holders not to book trips to Texas for the bowl season opener against the Longhorns September 5th in Austin. Not a shocker. Always with COVID-19 plan, or sorry, COVID-19's plan can change. I think this could mean multiple things. I think it could mean that, you know, they're going to plan on having the game still without fans, or they're just thinking about cutting the game altogether, which we've seen multiple ideas tossed out about just having conference play, and that's about it. So I think, I mean, I trust Chris. He's a great reporter. I think this is telling. It could, it shows a sign of, you know, we don't know what's in store for the season ahead yet. Hannah, I just want to get your take on this tweet alone.
I don't know. I mean, I I want to be optimistic and just be like, I want it to just be like, we're just playing it safe. Just don't book it just to be safe. In case this all happens, at least you're not losing a bunch of money. And I want to believe that. But at the same time, I don't think they would tell them that unless they knew something was in the works or something was come up. But like you said, things could change with COVID-19. We don't know what's next. We don't know what's happening. Athletes, us, you were mentioning stuff with the NWSL, like you were saying, like, we just don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to stay optimistic too, and I know a lot of sports reporters are staying optimistic about things happening. We haven't talked about this with Kenny Morales of Spectrum Sports, coworker of Chris Torello, actually. Um, sorry. Ooh, excuse me. Just before, you got me. But we were talking about this with Kenny, and he said, we got to remain optimistic, but you got to keep that sense of realism too. And that's kind of, you got to straddle that thin line, basically. And I mean, we're definitely preparing for whatever happens. I mean, it's hard to prepare though, because you really don't know what's going to happen. And as we edge closer to things, I mean, just the other day we hit a new high with 10,000 cases. I mean, we thought we hit a high like 3 times in the past like 2 weeks. And it's like, people aren't taking it seriously. They're not wearing a mask. And if you don't wear a mask, you're not going to have sports really. I mean, that's just how it is.
I retweeted a tweet by the hockey team, and they were like, if you want this, and they put a picture of the hockey team on the ice, then wear this. And it was a picture of a mask. And it's true. And even I saw something cool, interesting too. It was like, unless you want a doctor who did all their labs online in the future, like delivering your child, then wear a mask. And it's like so true, because all of these things are affecting us in such big ways. And overall it just makes me upset because I want football. And we talk about this later in the pod, but I want football. Like there's such high hopes for this season, high hopes for our team. We want it to come all together. I want to witness like a glow up. I want to witness the culture change. I want it so bad. But then, we have to think about our athletes and our coaches and how their families, how their people too, and it hurts.
Yeah, it does. And like you said, and we talk about this with Heath too, you got to remember that these are people too. And, their lives could be put against stake for our enjoyment. I mean, that's just kind of because we want to be entertained. Yeah, they get, not in the case of college athletes, but pro athletes, yeah, they get paid, but like, man, they're putting their families on the line too. And that brings me to another tweet actually posted on the same day on June 30th by Eric Engels. He's a writer and TV guy for Sportsnet. Actually, he's a Montreal Canadiens beat writer. He put in a tweet. It's a thread, so I'm going to sum it up a little bit. But he reached out to a bunch of players in the NHL, and the consensus was that approximately 75% of the people or players just don't know what's going on with the NHL's plan for coming back. And they're concerned about, different financial pitfalls. They're concerned about risking contracting the virus and getting even injured as well. That's a concern that a lot of people don't think about is before they're going to play. If they have this short amount of time to prepare for things, you're going to see a lot of injuries if you go out there and you try and cram in a season. And just a text message, I'll try and include a link to this tweet as well in the link in our bio. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I think that's kind of the rallying call for a lot of leagues. Not really rallying call, I don't want to say that, but it's just kind of the theme for most leagues that a lot of players just don't really have an idea of what's going on. And that's not on anyone really. I mean, the leagues don't even really know what's going on. And I think it's hard for them to pinpoint what's happening or what's going to happen with their leagues. NBA commissioner Adam Silver basically came out and said, I don't really know if we're going to have a full season. Like, I don't know if, well, they're having playoffs, but I don't know if they're going to finish the playoffs, basically. They can start it, that's for sure. But what happens if, in the case of the NWSL with the Challenge Cup that just came back last week, I'll get to that a little bit later, a little more in detail. But the Orlando Pride dropped out of that because they had multiple players who went to bars. A few people got tested positive for it, and they just decided, we're just going to drop out of this. So I wonder if we'll see that happening in other pro leagues that are coming back. And we're starting to see things that are just looking shaky right now.
See, the way I look at it too is I feel like the businesses of these sports they see it as a business. It's a moneymaker. And we all want it back, but at the same time, like, our players are the reason why it's so big. They're the reason why we love it so much. So, they deserve every right to take care of their health. So, kind of just like forcing them into it, like causing more injuries, disorganization, is that even worth the sports experience? And we've kept talking about that throughout our podcast, but, I just don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, and it's kind of a related quote, but I want to bring up a paraphrase quote from Liverpool head coach Jurgen Klopp, talking about differently in a different context, but it kind of relates to this too. He said, a good manager can only make a team 10% better. And I think that lays back into that the team itself is what we want to see. We want to see entertainment. We want to see an entertaining team. Liverpool is an entertaining team. I mean, it's because of the players. And with other leagues, the players are your precious commodity. Yeah, you want to get fans. Yeah, you want to make money. But you got to worry about your players too. I mean, you can't just say, all right, you're part of our team. You got to go out there and play. Why didn't you put them first? And it's interesting that the players associations we've seen with multiple leagues, namely the MLB, we're finally getting that back, but namely with MLB, we're just seeing that they're not agreeing with owners and they're going back and forth. And it's like, you got to cater toward your athletes. I mean, they bring them in, they bring in the crowds.
There is no sports if there is no team.
Exactly.
Like, the team, there's no fans. there's no fun. There's no game. Like, why wouldn't you take care of them first if that's what we want in the first place, is sports? And I feel like it ties into your point about the NWSL and how they're treating their players.
Yeah, and I think the WNBA is also, they're on their way back out in IMG Academy, which is not too far from Tampa, but they won't be having any fans or anything, but both the NWSL and the WNBA told their players, hey, if you want to play in this tournament, you can. If you don't, that's fine too. We're not going to hold it against you. And we saw it with the NWSL, with Orlando dropping out. The whole team dropped out. And NWSL was like, that's fine. We'll just have an 8-team tournament. I think it's worked. I really think it's worked for the NWSL. It's the first American league back. I just want to keep reiterating that. I want to keep dropping that little nugget in there just because it's true. But I've been watching it. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun. But like I said, with injuries, that's been a concern. A lot of players have been getting, hit pretty hard with coming in with the tackle. They get hit in the leg or whatever. That's a concern as well, is are you going to see these players injured? But on a lighter note about the NWSL, I want to talk about Evelyn Vienne because she made her debut. Former women's soccer, I guess we could say legend, because she was incredible for the Bulls. Just such a standout player. She made her debut with Sky Blue FC. I'm Sky Blue or die now. I mean, I love that team. It's so great. But she made her debut in their opening match against OL Reign on Tuesday. She came on as a late sub. Didn't really make too much of an impact. She made a few good runs, but it was just so cool to see a player at USF that I covered personally recently. I've written so much about her, and to see her make her professional debut, just a cool moment to me. At the time of this podcast, we're recording on a Friday. It's Friday, right? The days are going together. Okay, good. She might be playing again tomorrow. The Sky Blue plays their second game, so keep an eye out for that. But what a great moment. Kind of a light in all of this darkness that's happened. A lot of things have happened that aren't good, but that was just kind of a little bit of a light especially for USF fans.
Speaking of USF fans, we have a huge USF fan here on the pod today. I can't talk.
Yes, we have Heath Rinkus. I've said his name like 3 times now, but I'm just so excited to have Heath on.
I honestly didn't know how to pronounce his last name, so I was like, Nolan, please say it right. I don't want to butcher.
But we do have Heath. We don't want to take up too much time because the interview is a little bit long, but it's worth it. It's so much fun.
We have dogs.
Dogs. You got dogs to look forward to. But Heath, such a great fan. A lot of energy. Great guy. So yeah, we'll just get right into that interview now. We are now joined by Heath Rinkus and his dog, Pippa. You probably know Heath as the guy with the bull hat. He's wearing it right now. You've seen him at games before. You probably know his dog, Pippa, as well. Heath, super fan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here. Awesome. I love talking. I've missed everything to do with sports for the longest time now. But, yeah, glad to be here, definitely. Thank you for having me.
And we definitely have missed sports as well. Question, just to start off. How have you been? And more importantly, how has Pippa been?
I have been all right. I've been lucky enough, still employed. It's been a lot of crisis. I work for the state, so I'm definitely having lots of work, working from home. Just every day is another kind of state. The only time I get outside is because of Pippa. I do walk through our neighborhood and stuff. She's doing great. You think at first you come home and like, oh, I get to hang out with my dog all the time and they're going to be excited for me. But she sleeps all day, apparently. I never would have guessed it. Like I'm gone for 8 hours for work. She just lays there. Other than right now, she is gnawing at a cow knuckle. She's been getting lots of treats.
I can speak for that. So this is Daisy.
Hey, Daisy.
She's asleep. I always said that I wanted her to be like a sideline dog with me. So I was just shopping for bull jerseys for dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that'd be a good idea.
I turned book sleeves and whatnot into her, and then when they had the Under Armour kind of get rid of sale and stuff, I rigged into it. So a few years ago, back with the race, that was like an old player jersey that I cut up into, not jersey, one of the like special Under Armour like undershirts or something. I rigged into a racing penny for. It was nice.
I love that. But, you know, regarding quarantine, you and Pippa, what have you guys been doing to keep yourself busy? You said you're still able to work, which is great, but anything outside of that to keep yourself busy?
Myself, I actually started a weird thing on Facebook where I run pretend like drafts on Facebook because I'm so like sports deprived, and my mind, like early on, what was it? It was like going into draft season. So when, I don't even remember when the NFL draft was now. All the days run together. So like May-ish. But I make up a topic, and then I get a bunch of my friends and we submit entries, and you draft based off of a random topic. So you're building your own team, but like favorite restaurants, and then you get 10 picks and stuff against you and 3 of your friends.
I think it was USF Barstool or a different USF meme page. They did a draft of the best bars.
Yeah, I've seen that. And then they had along with that, like one of the USF Twitter things had a best like social media account, and I got outed in the first round by Marlon Mack. I saw that coming.
I remember I tabbed you to win the whole thing. I don't know.
I'm sorry. It's Marlon Mack's one of the greats, so I felt no shame in that, even with like it technically being Pippa for it. Yeah, no chance.
I think you responded to me about how your dog was like, I don't know, chewing on the couch or something at the time, and you're like, I don't know why anyone would see my dog as winning this whole thing.
Yeah.
But speaking of winning, actually, I want to travel back actually to November 3rd, 2 years ago. USF tried to have a football game in the middle of your corgi race, and we're not gonna talk about that.
There was one highlight of that game, and it wasn't our team. They tried.
They did try. We'll give them that. But your beloved Pippa won first place in the corgi race, put herself on the map. You have it pinned on your Twitter. It's just a great occasion on live TV. Just take us through that setup as to what happened before she won.
So the whole thing leading up to it was I had for years and years, I've had Pippa. She's a little over 5 now. I got her when she was about 4 months old as a graduation gift leading up to my final semester at USF. And in that time, I was a big, corgi fan online and pushing things. And I would always have a joke of like, hey, there should be like a corgi race on campus or something. And with various friends online, I had a few people in athletics and marketing and whatnot. Shout out Mike Muggs off at South Alabama now. Michael Kelly gets hired, and me joking on Twitter says, hey, glad to have you. When can we get a corgi race? And Michael Kelly, being the great man he is, responds and says, hey, I'll look into it. He talks to athletics, say, hey, can someone try to get on this? Talks to staff and whatnot. They put one guy in charge, Mike Muggs, back when he was working here back then, and he talks to me, sets this great thing up, looks out. I tell him a few of the corgi groups I'm in on Facebook. We get like 30 people in the Tampa, Hillsborough County area to register their dogs and sign up. Because we got so many, he had to screen out actually, and there was the preliminary races where they would select the top 10. So it was 3 rounds of races the night before that football game at a women's soccer game. So following the women's soccer game, Michael Kelly and a bunch of staff around, it was fairly packed. Were there, and there were 3 or 4 heats of dogs. The top 3 in each heat, I believe, made it, and then one round had an extra one. So 10 dogs made it on the field the next day as long as they made it in those heats. So Pippa blew past her competition in the first day. The 10 of us, now normally Raymond James had a whole setup, no dogs unless they're the service animals and whatnot, very strict about it, but we had a limited pass, so we were only given a 30-minute window or something, so we had to have the dogs outside. I couldn't be in the stands yet. I had to have a friend. You had to bring a co-handler or something, and we met 5 minutes after the start of the first quarter, went under the stadium, through the walkways and stuff underneath Raymond James, hung out, and as soon as second quarter began, or right in between first and second quarter, sorry. We march out on the field, and they had prepped us like, look, as soon as those dogs are out there, we've got our, like, the handlers, which are, you know, one of our random friends, and the squad of interns within marketing saying, as soon as they're done racing, you've got to grab them and go, knowing that it's going to be chaos anyway. We march us out. You've got the other person 20 yards away from you, all of the dog owners on the end zone. And then third leg Greg out there, DJ, mics it up for us, sets it up. They let him go, and Pippa, I was very shocked, wins by a hair. And I've got like the gif of it online, and that picture is so close. And I can't remember off the top of my head, but the one who almost won her heat the day before, and that's who I thought was gonna win. Pippa like edged it out perfectly. In the mass chaos, they start running everywhere, like almost towards the football teams and stuff. And it was half of the fun of it was like collecting them. And that was probably the biggest cheer we got that day, if I remember.
Absolutely.
That was a very, very awesome experience. I'd hope to see it come back again, but it was a lot of groundwork. So shout out to all the marketing that year. It was 2 years ago, right? They put in a lot of effort for it. It was good feedback, but it's just a shame the rest of the day couldn't have been as strong of a showing.
Yeah, there's some videos of it, and I'll try and include it in here. But you're right, it was just chaos. I mean, all the dogs, just little tiny corgis running around everywhere. But
yep,
definitely a great thing by USF. And yes, shout out to Muggs. He's great. We've worked with him in the press box before, and what a guy. So wishing him all the best at South Alabama. But definitely, what a great time. Hopefully, it does come back eventually.
I'm just thinking, imagine being a marketing intern and putting on your resume, like, put together a corgi race for USF football.
And that's the thing. It's such a big, like, you see it like, I think the Seattle Seahawks ran one too, or like the baby races in NBA, but we did it before it was cool. All right. And you'll see like every so often races. She's actually entered into, they had to cancel them this year, unfortunately. Usually middle June or July, there are corgi races at the Tampa Bay Downs where they normally do horse races. And it's a 50-yard circuit, though. It's much longer. She won her heat last year and then got fourth in the finals in that, but that's over 100 corgis. That's wild.
Wait, so now I have this question. Do you train Pippa? Like, does she have an active...
She trains herself. She's an animal. They say dogs take after their owners. I don't know if y'all see me on the Jumbotron, but I am not a small, light, agile man. And this dog, she is in peak physical condition.
So, you know, knowing that she's a true athlete, she's taking over her owner, do you ever just look at your dog and think, wow, you are a champion?
Yes. Oh, yeah. And she deserves it. That's why I've got the stacks on stacks of treats and stuff.
Oh, I someone just rang the doorbell, so now Daisy is upset. Come back.
Oh, no.
I wish I could show you what she looks like right now. She's so funny.
Oh, that's great. Well, Heath, definitely, we've seen you at plenty of games, plenty of football games with your amazing signs, by the way. I love your signs so much.
I'm not kidding. I've got the whole bag for Christmas one year. This is my signed bag. I can only bring it to basketball games, unfortunately. And going through the screening there is always a fun trip, and they have to go through each thing, but you can't bring it into Ray J because of the clear bag policy.
We've seen definitely your signs. We just love them to death. I know Brian Hattab, former sports editor, and we'd always try and find you at Ray J and see what sign you had at the
Good
game
picture
there.
Opportunities, yeah.
Oh, it's just great. But what games do you like attending the most? I mean, I'm sure you've been to multiple different events, but just any of them? Football. Definitely. I always wear this black jersey, and I'm miserable and hot, and even, September heat, those 12 o'clock, 3:30 games sometimes. I love it. I've always been a football guy. I don't know if it's been discussed. I was actually on the cheerleading team at USF for 4 years. And so and then my last 2 years I was captain. So when I graduated, end of 2016-17, when I started being a fan in the stands, I'm always in that one corner. The reason I'm in that corner is because that's where USF co-ed cheerleading team starts in the first quarter and ends in the fourth quarter. So this year, everyone I knew has graduated. It was the first year, actually. But in the past, I'd always have friends and stuff, and I'd joke, like, throw batteries at them and stuff and join in on the cheers and everything.
That's so funny. I did cheerleading for like 6 years of my life. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm so into sports, is because I'm so used to being on the sideline, like right there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like I've wanted to stay down there, and that's as close as I can get now.
Like the stands is a different story. You want to be right there. Like that's what you're used to seeing.
I am right on that corner. I make friends with the gate guard in my little section there. Oh yeah.
I totally believe it, definitely. But even with USF footballs, not had some good couple of years in the past years.
I've been there I've been there downs and ups, because my first year was the last year of Skip Holtz, and then I had to sit through 2 years of Taggart getting getting everyone on the bus, and then my senior year was Miami Beach Bowl. We finally made it click. Then my first few years, the fan got to be the good years, and then we've got our once again rebuilding, but it's okay, we're coming back.
Was there ever a point last season where you just were like positively nihilistic at a point where you're just like, well, you know what, we're terrible, we might as well embrace it?
I've definitely had to embrace that, and that's where the signs, like I went from very early on like hard trash talk signs to, well, let's have some tasteful dumb jokes on here, just get some camera time and whatnot. There was also one game this year where I was surrounded by frat guys. I had no idea who they were, and that was an interesting experience. There was a few ripped signs, and got a bit of beer on me. Not the best experience, and it was a bad game too. I don't remember which one it was, but I had to be a fan for the sake of the school, not for my enjoyment at points. Yeah.
Bulls overall were just not happy.
Not the best year. That's okay. I've seen worse.
The Bulls were not on parade.
That's one way to put it.
I just want to bring some light over to the best. Lately, our Oracle sports team compiled kind of like an article and just talked about the best moments we've seen in USF athletics. And I want to know, what is your best moment from all the games that you've attended?
Football or any game?
We do both.
Ooh, okay. Okay, so football and then women's basketball are the two I've got off the top of my head. For football, now there's two. Now I've got two for football. I'm going to talk about it both. Sorry about it. Probably the greatest thing that stands out in my mind was end of 2015, I believe, the year we're finally getting it to click. Temple, home game. They come to town ranked. I'm on the field. They gave us like the military appreciation hats and stuff, and it's one of my last few games that year, and we just are playing like great. Everything's clicking. We win very handily, I'm pretty sure. And we rush the field. It's the only time we've rushed the field in that time. And marketing and like staff or Spirit Squad's telling us, you can't go the field. You can't do it. Like knowing the students are going to do it. But when like thousands of people start rushing in and the cops just let people do it, they're like, oh, wait, this is a good photo op. Okay, you guys can join too. So we throw girls on our shoulders and we get to be out there too. There's a few pictures of that big mob in the middle, and I get to be a part of that. And then just knowing that my last year we finally got to be good. And that click and fans on the field with us, that was really cool experience. I always remember that. And I'm hoping there's another one, because I haven't gotten to rush the field as a fan yet. So that was really cool. My favorite like part of a game would be 2016 or 17, the next year, when we were projected to be good. Florida State comes to town. And we've got all the pieces on offense. We've got Marlon Mack. We've got Rodney Adams. We've got Marquez. We've got Q. And first play of the game, it's like four verts are just straight running. Rodney Adams beats his man. Touchdown. First play of the game. The loudest I have heard Raymond James Stadium. Lost my mind. Don't remember what happened next. It might have been, Dalvin Cook running up the middle for a touchdown on Florida State's first possession, but I forget about that. I just remember how great it was Rodney Adams taking it to the house. Like, we can play with these guys. Game wasn't the best result, but we had something special that year. Ooh, that's football. Can I do one more for basketball?
Absolutely.
All right. My freshman year, cheerleading, the women's team made the NCAA tournament. They won their first game. At that game, it was in Texas Tech. I only got invited because one of the seniors on the team got sick. So I got to go, and it was my first time traveling for a basketball game. And it was like a long experience rather than overnight. Normally we don't travel for basketball. Fun time. We had like family of our cheer coach there in town. And at the game, though, it's like really close. It's been a few years now, because this is beginning of 2013 spring. And we're down by 3 points, I think 2 or 3 points, either way. And it's like heart is pounding because I'm really into it, like early on. Inga Orakova, I think her name. It's been a while. Sharpshooter specialist, 3-pointer, makes all 3 of her free throws to tie it up, and then we get the win to go into the second round, and then we lose then. But I remembered that point, and we're the only ones in the stadium freaking out. There was a few traveling there, but the cheerleaders and Sunwolves there, we went nuts. Oh, I remember that, and I didn't ever like basketball until I got to USF, and then men's basketball has slowly had to build up. Women has always been a staple for me, and they've been able to get me into it. And I just remember being able to go to that tournament helped me become a basketball fan.
Definitely. I mean, basketball, like you even said, women's basketball, they've been dominant for so long. I mean, now that UConn's gone, I mean, the conference is theirs to lose, basically.
Yeah.
But specifically with football, I like to keep optimistic. Do you ever think that in this season, if we have it, bearing that we have it, we'll get to see some of those moments that will make you cheer the loudest again?
Yes, it's got to happen. It's got to happen. Last year, the offense just wasn't for us. I think new coach coming in, I think Scott's got us. I'm very hopeful. I'm going to say that about whoever we hire, honestly. But I think he's got that pedigree coming from Clemson. I think depending on the pieces that come back and click, Johnny Ford coming back, that exciting. We were missing a home run hitter. And whatever situation's going on, if they get that resolved and he's playing the full year, awesome. We get some solid showing from receivers, and we can get a quarterback system in play that isn't too complicated. It's going to play to our strengths. We can have a year. We can have a year.
So,
Go ahead.
So we actually interviewed a Sundoll captain of this year, Lauren Farr, and we kind of touched on this with her too. And you having experience in cheerleading and just having such a big role in the environment of football. What is your take on the possibility that there may not even be a football season or even any season this year? You know, how do you think it will change the impact and the environment of college football in your eyes?
It honestly was heartbreaking. I saw a week or two ago that the post went out that spirit squads in the AAC aren't going to be allowed on the field. So no band halftime shows and stuff. And I saw that and my heart shattered because that was such a big experience for me in college. Not just that, but I have tons of friends in hot bands still. And then alumni from that program as well, not just on spirit squads. And that all the work and stuff that not just the players do, but those groups as well, spirit squads, cheer, Sundolls, hot band, there's so many pieces that go into it. So you're not just changing, fans watching football, you're changing those participants in those groups too, their families watching it, supporting their children. And it was such a building experience for me being on the cheer team, and my heart goes out to all of them. It was really upsetting. While it's necessary, sure, at times, and we get in the whole debates of these players aren't being paid and whatnot without digging too much, but these are students just like us out there risking not only their own health on the field, but health in, current present day scenarios. So I understand it would suck. I think I saw just today that one school had to cancel their game with Navy or something like that. Off the top of my head, Lafayette or something. And so they might start whittling and officially saying all out of conference games, which breaks my heart because we had such a good schedule this year, and the next few Texas was going to be it's upsetting. I understand why, but I wish it didn't have to be.
Definitely. I mean, you look forward to this. A lot of people, season ticket holders, look forward to this for so long, and then just kind of have it taken away. But you bring up a great point. It's just having, these are student athletes as well. They're people as well. So, they got to think about their health. They got to think about the risk involved. But let's say, optimistically speaking, that we do end up having fall sports. What would you be most looking forward to about the season? I know we kind of briefly touched on it throughout, but just overall.
Most looking forward to more opportunities for signs off top of my head. That'll probably be it. I had a few in mind. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'd really hate to see them go to waste. Really hate to see that. But if not that, I would just love to see. I want to see really the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is the new hope with new head coach. I remember that. And we haven't had a great track record of it. I think like Charlie Strong's first year, he kind of coasted off previous coach. And then Willie took a few years to get that. So we haven't had that like that. I'd love to see it come together fully, some championship at the end. And I know it's early, but I got a lot of hopes, honestly. I can sit here and name a bunch. Oh, I just love to see Coach Scott get a chance to get his system. Young, hungry coach coming in. He's got his what he's bringing in from Clemson. I'd hope that meshes in and we become that like a name, a powerhouse or something, whether that means a championship, whether that means future conference alignment kind of things at play for our notoriety. We could really get a lot. I think that was a great hire. If I hadn't already said it, I think it was a great hire.
Definitely think so. Well, we definitely hope that Coach Scott can, turn things around this season upcoming. We definitely hope that there is a season as well. We're running out of time a little bit. So Heath, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on, wearing the hat, bringing on Pippa. Such a great time. We hope to see you back out. Oh, yes.
Let me get one more. Come here, Pippas. Get back on. Yes.
One more
Pippas.
Shot of Pippa. Yep.
There she is.
There it is. Well, to Heath and to Pippa both, we hope to see you out at USF games soon. We're hoping that is the case. I'm remaining a little optimistic. We hope that also corgi races make their way back somehow. Pippa, we got to get you back out there.
More bark at the park games, because there was a soccer game this past year and they had to cancel the baseball one. So they owe me a few. They owe me and Pippa a few.
We got to get more dogs out at USF. Definitely. But again, thank you so much for joining us.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us again on the Oracle Sports Podcast. We had such a great time talking with Heath. Always a great time talking to him, and we hope to see him back out on the field. Just a little bit of a heads up. This might be our last pod, at least for a while. We're not entirely sure. We've been having a little bit of trouble trying to schedule people. But we're hoping we can be back in the fall. We're taking, as a newspaper, we're taking a little bit of a break starting June. Are we in June or July? It's July. It's July. So we're taking a break as a paper starting July 16th. So that'll be the definitive cutoff. But in between then, we're trying to get some guests. We're not sure if it'll work out, but if anything, we'll see you guys probably again in the fall.
But if you want to be on the Oracle Sports Podcast, or if you have a story, reach out to us. Or if you just really miss us like a lot while we're not posting, you could always follow us on Twitter at the USF Oracle Sports, at USF Oracle Sports on Twitter. Follow us, keep up with our updates. And yeah, until then, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Nolan, and we'll see you guys next time.
Wear a mask.